23. The author develops the narrator's point of view when the narrator sees the creature by... So the narrator saw the creature in those last three paragraphs, 7, 8, and 9. And he kept going closer and closer. And even though he couldn't see it clearly, he kept pushing forward. And he had some ideas what it might be as he got closer, but he was just describing bits and pieces and getting really, really excited. So that's kind of got to be the answer. I mean, he's not developing it through dialogue or anything else like that. So let's look at the answer choices. A, describing the narrator's movements as he approaches the creature. Yeah, is it about the narrator's movements? I mean, he is describing everything as he gets closer and closer to the creature. Let's just keep that in our back pocket for a second. But he is developing the action as he moves closer and closer. B, emphasizing the odds of finding the creature in an area inhabited by rival species. What? That has nothing to do with those paragraphs of 7, 8, and 9 to develop the narrator's point of view. It has nothing to do with that. That is just simply not in passage B. Okay? C, showing the narrator's growing realization of the creature's identity. Is he getting a growing realization? I mean, he's seeing bits and pieces, and he's describing pieces for the reader who might be getting a growing realization, but I'm not sure he is. Let's keep that on hold for a second. Let's just highlight that. D, comparing the size of the creature to the size of the vehicle. No, that's not developing the narrator's point of view. That's not anything to do with his point of view, which is the question. So how does he develop the narrator's point of view when the narrator sees the creature? Well, is it about, let's go check. Is it about the narrator's movements as he approaches the creature? Or is it a realization of the creature's identity? So when I have two choices I'm caught between, I'm going to test something specific about them in the answer option text against the passage. In this case, I'm going to check the narrator's movements. Is that what's creating the point of view in 7, 8, and 9? Or is it the growing realization of the identity? Let's go back and look. I kept stepping toward the one sound I'd heard, a growing part of me hoping I'd find nothing. So that's something about his actions. Doesn't really say, oh, my first thought, a giant octopus. So it gives his first thought, right? Puget Sound has some of the biggest octopi in the world. They often balloon to 100 pounds. So good. He knew it was more than an octopus. So he is getting a realization that it's more than just an octopus. I came closer within 50 feet, close enough to see its large cylindrical. So are they really about describing his movements? I couldn't tell if I was making any sounds at that point because it's impossible to hear anything over the blood in my ears. Well, that is describing his movement. So far, both seem to be applying. 8, the creature's body came to a triangular point above the narrows, but it's hard to be sure what exactly where it all began or ended. So he's not getting a greater realization here, or how long its tentacles were. I didn't know whether I was within reach, and its arms were as big around, so he didn't know where he was, really. And he says if the creature twitched, he would have run. So he is kind of developing the point of view from his movements here. He's not getting a greater realization of what the creature is. So looking at it, not looking at it, I saw fragments. I knew what it had to be, but I wouldn't allow myself to even think the two words. Then I gradually realized the dark, shiny disc in the middle of the room was too perfectly round to be a mud reflection. It was too late to smother my screen. So, boy, there are two options here that look potentially correct. He is describing with greater clarity. Could first be an octopus, and then it suggested he might be more than an octopus in 7, and then in 8, he thinks he knows what it is. Arguably, this could be a hard one, but I'm going to go with C, showing the narrator's growing realization of the creature's identity. That's the more important idea. It's not so much about the narrator's movements, whether he's getting closer or jumping away. It's more about his realization as he's seeing bits and pieces and he's getting all excited. That's his point of view and how that builds as he gets closer and closer. So I think C is the right answer.